Your Linux distribution does not matter. That's such a controversial opinion. What the hell? There's so many people on, I guess, the Linux world or whatever you want to say. There are so many people that, bring up this idea that, when you get into Linux, you got to choose a version. You got to choose what flavor of Linux you want to use. And then, there's all these articles, there's all these videos choosing the right Linux distro. The best 5 Linux distro. Which one's the best? Best for beginners. Best Linux distro for you. You look up best Linux distros. There's all these different ones with a different penguin. There's all different Red Hat, Gen 2, Core Linux, SUSE. Hell, there's a Wikipedia article telling you the best Linux distribution. But it simply does not matter. And often, what I've noticed is that the idea that a Linux distribution matters comes from the idea that actually I don't know where it comes from, because frankly it's stupid. I think people don't fully understand what a distro is. It's probably why there are so many different flavors, but it doesn't matter. To explain it very briefly, a distribution, you have to understand there's the Linux kernel, and then that's kind of it. You have the kernel and you have all the main programs that you use, and that's kind of it. That's basically Linux, to be honest. After that, you just build programs on top of that, but that's your computer. A distribution essentially streamlines this process, because most people don't just have the kernel and the main programs that you need, the GNU, as they call it. They don't just have those two aspects, and then they just, install whatever programs they want from there. It's kind of complex if you want to do that. A distribution essentially gives you a package manager where you can install your programs from very easily. For example, I'm on I'm on Arch Linux, and if you're on Arch Linux, all you have to do is pacman-s and whatever program you want. Let's say Firefox, and you gotta go to sudo, and that's how you download programs. It's as simple as that. In other distributions, you type in some different command, and they won't be the same programs that you can install. That is essentially the major difference. Another huge difference is that distributions will auto-install a lot of programs. Now, for example, I am on Arch Linux, so it's actually considered quite a minimalist distribution. There isn't a lot of programs installed. When you install, and you fully install Arch Linux on a minimal, just the basics, what you need, the essentials, all you're going to have is the TTY, which it's just a command prompt. Nothing else. There's no screen. You can't, you got to download your display manager. You got to download all these additional programs, but that's all a distribution really is. If you download a distribution such as Linux Mint, for example, if you go to Linux Mint, when you install it, it doesn't come up with a command prompt as Arch Linux does. It will already give you these this desktop environment and window manager. All these programs are already installed for you. You already have a web browser installed. You have this program LibreOffice installed, and you have all this stuff. Whether you use it or not is up to you, but they just automatically install it for you. Whereas if you look at a distribution such as Arch Linux, it's very minimal. You choose what you want to install, and there's performance benefits to have this, because and it's more minimalist. You have what you need essentially, but that is really all a distribution is. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing complex. Don't worry about which one is the best or the best for you. Honestly, I wouldn't even say there's necessarily one that's best for you. I think if you ask me, I would say Arch Linux is probably the best one, unless you are really don't care about optimizing. I guess there's two camps. You can either be in the camp of you care about optimizations or you don't care. If you care, then Arch Linux is good. You install what you need, and it's not that complex. You learn more about how Linux works, how computers work, and it educates you, and you get a faster computer. If you don't care about that, then you can install literally Ubuntu or Linux Mint. Just install whichever one looks the best to you, and that'll work fine. But it really, I don't think it's that complex. I think it's overcomplicated. People are way too infatuated with, I want to get the, like, even Arch Linux, there's derivatives of Arch Linux, like Arctic Linux, and I don't know, just all this stuff that, again, like, honestly, it really does not matter. It's just preference. But there is no best distribution besides Arch. I would say Arch is probably the best. It's the best between, you care about optimizations, but you don't want to spend your entire life on optimizations. If you care about optimizations to the max, you can install Gentoo, and you can compile every single package. But that takes a very long time, and it uses a lot of performance from your CPU. So, again, it's preference. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And what most people don't even understand is that they think the distribution is how the computer looks. For example, I'm using Arch Linux here, but this is not what Arch Linux looks like. Arch Linux, like, this is just DWM. Like, my entire look here, like how it's a tiling window manager and stuff, that's just another program called DWM. And yeah, like how it looks. So for example, if we take a look back at Linux Mint, I think this is using Cinnamon. Yeah, this one's Cinnamon, which is just a desktop environment. But how it looks, like, technically, again, the distribution is just the installed programs that you get when you install the distribution. When you install Arch Linux, you get basically nothing. You can install whatever desktop manager or window manager you want. Technically, you could install Linux Mint. It comes with the Cinnamon desktop environment, and you could uninstall that and then put DWM, just like how I've done it here. And you can make it look exactly like my computer, but it's running the base Linux Mint programs. But, like, again, at the end of the day, it does not matter, because it's just programs. It's just like which programs you already want installed. So yeah, it really doesn't matter. I would say don't hyper focus on distributions, especially if you're a noob. If you truly, I think if you truly are interested in Linux, Arch Linux is a great way to start. A lot of people say that it's really hard, it's this and that. It's a bit hard at the start, but you learn it, and then you'll probably retain it, because when you have to stress, like when you have a kind of stressor on your brain, you need to learn something, it's hard, well, you're not going to forget it in the future, because your brain's going to remember. So that's how I think about it. But if you don't care, then Linux Mint, Ubuntu, those are fine. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.